and we are looking at one of his great creations, bananas flambé. Indeed. We're here for other purposes besides eating breakfast this morning. We're going to chat with some Republican delegates to the convention in just a couple of minutes. Kathleen?
Bananas Foster at this hour, Harry. Also ahead this morning, a look at Louisiana's most powerful and colorful political family, the Longs. And also coming up, the hot bayou music called Zydeco, played by Buckwheat Zydeco. Now the news. Brennan's with some outspoken convention delegates.
We thought we would have breakfast with three delegates to the Republican convention this morning. And joining us here at Brennan's are Vicky Latayad and John Katopodis and Vicky Pegg. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
You were a big supporter of Jesse Jackson back in 1984. What are you doing here?
I'm kind of here because I became very disappointed after the 1984 election. I mean, after the convention, Jesse Jackson said, "You came here and you got nothing." And that's exactly the way I felt, and I said, never again will the Democrats take my little vote for granted. And I changed my registration.
John, what's a son of Greece who actually sat in the Kennedy School of Government listening to Michael Dukakis lecture doing with a George Bush pin on his lapel?
It isn't easy. Believe me, I'm not eating any strange baklava these days. But the truth is that Greeks, like Cubans and other groups, tend to have a greater appreciation for freedom, having lived under dictatorships. And George Bush represents the best chance to maintain freedom. And the Greeks, as a group, having enjoyed economic prosperity in this country, want to keep that going. And George Bush offers the best chance for that.
Vicky Pegg, a blue-eyed Ohio delegate. Ohio native.
Mm-hmm.
How is George Bush and whoever his running mate might be, how are they going to fix your gender gap problem?
Oh, I'm glad you asked for that.
You didn't know it was coming.
Didn't know it was coming. I don't buy the gender gap as much as the media or whoever's responsible for it buys it. We heard about it in 80 and 84, yet the vote didn't reflect it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure it's there. Don't ever
Polls
sell.
certainly reflect that right now.
The polls do,
right.
Yes. However, don't ever sell women short. I've spent 20 years being a career woman, raising a family, doing all those things that millions and millions of other women are doing. And I figured out a long time ago that if you give me a sound, healthy economy, I can do anything. I can write my own ticket. And that's what the Republicans have always offered.
Let's talk about Veep choice. That's the biggest secret, best secret of the week. Maybe Wednesday night. George Bush is still saying probably Thursday morning. If you had a chance to sidle up next to George Bush, who would you tell him to pick?
Clearly, Dole. I think I get a 2-for-1 package here. I get him and his wife, and I think I'm sure we have someone that would be sensitive to blacks. And interestingly enough, I've talked to people like my mother, who is absolutely disgusted that I'm a Republican. She told me to wear a paper bag over my head when I got here. But she told me that she would vote for Dole. So I think we have someone who's got the national exposure and would bring in a lot of disenfranchised other, minority groups.
John, who do you think?
Well, I think George Bush, being the kind of guy he is going to select someone who's qualified to be president. That's going to be the first consideration. There are a lot of folks out there that fit that bill. Dick Thornburgh of Pennsylvania certainly would be a good choice. I guess I also tend to favor Dole, but I like Liddy Dole. I think she would bring magnetism and dynamism to the ticket, and we need that little spark right now.
Vicky?
Well, I agree totally with John. And, of course, I would be delighted to see a woman on the ticket. I don't think that's going to happen this year. My personal first choice, though, for a long time, and still remains Howard Baker. I think his depth, his background, experience in both federal government and foreign policy, I think is outstanding.
We need we're looking for regional balance and other balances. A Southerner, maybe an ethnic, a Greek.
Are you available, John?
Me too. I mean, we've got General Powell. And I think that's someone that we really need to look closely at. That is a person
You hear the
who's
name
qualified.
whispered, and that name has never made it onto that sort of public
But
list.
if Bush is in office,
Could that
we
be
will
the great
hearing that
surprise?
Well, that would truly be a great surprise to me. But I think with Bush in office, Vice President Bush in office, we will hear a lot more about General Powell. And I think it's going to be the Republicans who bring blacks to the forefront. And I think General Powell will be the
What
one.
is it like to be, though, at this convention behind? I mean, in a position, really, for the first time in a long time, there's a real vulnerability here. You people have got to get your act together if you're going to win again.
I
Right?
don't
being behind, so it's not a problem. And
I don't
we can work it
disagree
out.
that we need to get our act together. However, we went from a 17-point deficit to a 7-point deficit, and as of 2 days ago in an Ohio caucus, it was announced we were neck and neck.
And I think after Ronald Reagan's speech last night, I think you're going to see a surge in the polls because he told it like it really is. And I think that message got through to the American public.
We have to get the issues out, I think, is what we have to do. And the glitz and glamour of Jesse Jackson and all of the things that happened in the Democratic convention was just that. It was a lot of deception. When the issues get out, the clear issues get out, I think we're going to see a real change.
We're keeping hope alive by nominating George Bush, and I think that's important.
Vicki, John, and Vicki, thank you all very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Do appreciate it. It's 12 minutes before the hour. We'll be back.